We
All
are
right.
now recording.
All right. So, hello. This is the Amherst Energy and Climate Action Committee, which was organized to help the. I lost my page. Hang on a minute. Uh-oh, which was organized to help guide the town in meeting its climate mitigation and resilience goals. You'd think I'd know this blurb by now. Those those goals and the plans for getting there are adopted from the Climate Action Adaptation and Resilience Plan, or the CARP, which is accepted by the Town Council in 2021. It takes 2016 as its base year and calls for a 25% reduction in carbon emissions, town carbon emissions by 2025, 50% by 2030, and neutrality by 2050. So this committee has two functions. Let's remember, one is to advise the town council and recommend or propose policies or actions that help us meet those goals. And the second is to promote a just, equitable, and speedy climate response through outreach and engagement of town and local stakeholders. So with that, we need a note taker for today. Before we do anything else, do we have a volunteer? Who hasn't done it in a while?
Certainly.
So Michael. Oh, hi, Michael.
Yeah.
We were just looking for a volunteer note taker.
I can give it a shot. I've never done it, but
if you look at this week's minutes, I think they're a really good example. Just keep it brief. We had a discussion about this, we had a discussion about that, we had a vote. Yeah.
I think I'll give it a shot. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Emily.
And Emily, if you just take the notes, I can format it for you. So if you just keep it in the agenda format as much as you can,
Okay.
like use the agenda as your guide,
Okay.
that would be perfect. Thank you.
And
Thank
just
you.
send it to Stephanie as soon as you can, and she'll massage it and send it back to us. All right. Okay. So with that, we're going to review the minutes from last week. Here it is. I had a couple of small of suggested changes. If it's okay with everybody else, let me just share the screen if I can get it to. I want it to stay up. That's very weird. There it is. Okay, got it. Let me go ahead and share this. Share minutes, share. Okay. So I thought, who took these minutes last week? This was
I did.
This was Don. Yeah, Don, these were very nice and brief.
It's my corporate lawyer background.
Yep.
You don't say too much. It just gets you in trouble. Trust me.
Yep. All right. So meeting called to order. I'll let you guys look through this. Make sure that this is correct, right? That you were here or not here. And then we did talk about Tony, we did talk about your draft letter. I'm sorry, I couldn't find it for some reason at the beginning of the meeting, but we found it, and as you may have seen, it was submitted with small changes.
I was able to read a copy. Stephanie sent me a copy, or I think Stephanie sent everyone a copy, and I was able to read it over.
Good, good. I did not make it to the block party. The faculty senate meeting, in fact, went until like 6:30 or 7 or something like that. It went on forever. It was one of those forever meetings. So it was a marathon meeting. We'll hear more about the education series today. Oh, what happened to my suggested changes?
I don't know.
Showing. There should be one there. Oh dear. View. Ah, man.
I have it if you want me to share my screen.
There's one. Sorry, it's here. They're here. They're here.
Yeah.
Okay, they were down farther. It was under pump storage. I was going to say under pump storage, I didn't want people just randomly reaching out to Eve. That wasn't the intent. I was afraid if with that in the minutes, people would be calling her. She had volunteered to come here if we want to hear more about it. So, and talk to us about it. So I was suggesting changing that with Eve Vogel at UMass may be a resource if we want to know more, instead of if anybody wants to explore more about storage, they can reach out to. Okay. All right.
It's fine.
And similarly, there was something here. I wanted to be careful about the consensus of the group. This was my consensus, my opinion.
yeah.
The university is not doing its thing, but the consensus of the group of this, so there's this advisory and support advisory group trying to get UMass to do the right thing. What they're doing is they're trying to coordinate on-campus and alumni groups and form a plan, a strategy to pressure the university to decarbonize. So I was going to suggest replacing this consensus of the group stuff with this thing, which says they are coordinating with on-campus and alumni groups and forming a plan to pressure the university to decarbonize. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today. I have one more thing I want to ask for your input on in that regards. Actually, it should be on campus, local. Add one more thing there, just on campus. I can't seem to type for some reason. I want to let me type. Oh, because I have to say edit. Can I change one word here? Stephanie, I sent you this one, but if you just add on campus, local, and alumni groups. In other words, I'm reaching out to you guys for your input for this group as well, right? So.
Lori, if you wouldn't mind just sending me that version when you're done, that would be great. Great,
Will
excuse
do.
me.
Will do. Any other comments? I don't know why this is doing this thing. Let's see. There we go. That's better. So if that's okay with everybody, somebody make a move to accept the minutes with the changes.
I'll move to accept the minutes as amended.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so Roof and Ising seconding. And now I have to stop sharing.
Okay, so I just need you to make sure you're unmuted and in no particular order. Ising,
Yes.
Linung,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
McElrath,
Yes.
Roof,
Yes.
Dorr,
Yes.
Goldner.
Yes.
Okay, minutes are approved.
Okay. And now if we have attendees, which we do not, so no public comment because no public. So next thing on the agenda is the Elevate event. Planning for that, Tony?
I have no updates for that yet. I actually haven't heard back from Zoe. I imagine she's pretty busy, but I did follow up with her on today's Wednesday, on Monday, so I should hear back shortly.
Remind what the time frame for this was, and was it a
June 3, and I think it was Thursdays that, or maybe Friday.
Afternoons or something like that, or just Thursdays?
Yeah. Thursday afternoon, but any Thursday, I believe she said was okay. I can recheck the email now.
Okay. Then back to the education series. So Stephanie, do you want to give us an update to what has transpired so far? I don't have too much to add. I can say one thing.
Sure. At the last meeting, we mentioned having both CET do just kind of another push for the heat pump program because of the incentives that'll be ending soon at the end of December. And then we also reached out to Valley Bike, and both of those entities are interested in doing some kind of talk at one of the upcoming meetings. So I think CET will be scheduled for October 8th. And then the following meeting in October, I think that's the 22nd, will be Valley Bike. Lori, you're muted.
I was saying, let me make sure I have this in my notes correctly. So, hang on a minute. Come on. So October 8th, which is the next meeting, is CET. And they're going to talk about the heat pump program.
Yes, they're essentially going to do the same presentation they've done before, which is just kind of an overview of heat pumps, just general information, and then they'll talk about the heat pump program as well and how people can sign up.
All right, so same as before. And then the next following meeting, which would be the, what is that?
October 22nd.
October, I can't add today for some reason. Yeah, October 22nd, that will be Valley Bike. Talking about Valley Bike.
And sponsorship opportunities, which is a really important piece.
Oh, tell us about what that means.
That just means we want people to sponsor stations and the bikes. That helps pay for having the program. Helps pay for operations.
Is that just a donation thing or is that an advertising?
No, it's
thing?
more of an advertising thing. We don't call it advertising, but it is basically, it's sponsorship, which is advertising. So
Right.
it's
Okay.
kind of the same semantics, but
Okay, good. Okay, so we have a couple of things lined up. I reached out. The only thing I have to add is that I did reach out to Darcy, but I just did it today about zero waste. She had actually caught up with me over the summer. I can let you know what I know about zero waste. Let me just find it. So we had wanted an update maybe from somebody on, oh, she's actually written back already. Okay, so over the summer, so remember that the ECAC, we had endorsed the zero waste Amherst proposal for Amherst to contract with a local hauler to provide some sort of pay-as-you-go, pay-as-you-throw system and curbside compost pickup for all of Amherst, including apartments. So according to Darcy, that was still in progress as of August. The RFP was still in progress. She says the council requested the manager issue an RFP to local haulers and funded a consultant to do so in November of last year, but that hasn't happened yet. I'm not sure that's exactly the same as what my understanding is, so I'd be curious to hear what Stephanie has to say. But she said the Board of Health asked for an update. One of the things it wanted to hear then was, is there still support and is there momentum to push it forward? We had already written a letter. She was actually asking me to come and show up at a Board of Health meeting, but I was on vacation, so I told her I couldn't do it. I was away that week. Otherwise, I would have gone. So she says at the latest is the Board of Health urged the manager to accelerate the process of getting an RFP out to local haulers, a process the council unanimously supported and funded last November. This is what Darcy's saying. If ECAT could also urge him to do so, that would be helpful. And you could include in recommitment, you could include in that a recommitment to the town manager goal, a recommitment to the goal that they get a zero waste hauler. That's right. We should be talking about, it's that time of year again, isn't it? I'm probably already late. Talking about the town manager goals for the next year and the annual report. Stephanie, what's your understanding of the status of the zero waste proposal?
I do not have an update. I would say Darcy is the one most closely informed about that effort and where it is at the moment.
So if we want, we could ask Darcy. I would have no problem asking Darcy if she wanted to present 15 minutes at ECAC on the status of the zero waste proposal, what it is, what it would mean for people. Any thoughts on that? Is that worth doing? Because this came up in the context of the education series. No thoughts. We all need a little caffeine.
I mean, sure, I'd be interested to hear about it. I haven't heard much.
Yeah. So I could ask Darcy if she wants to talk about that sometime in November, maybe before Thanksgiving, And then we'll take a break of no education stuff as we approach Thanksgiving through Christmas. We'll start again mid-January. All right, so I'll see if she's interested in doing that. Let me go ahead and share the spreadsheet, which I think you can all view, right? Did I share that correctly? I'm sorry, I think I asked that last time.
So you shouldn't be using Google Docs to have anybody
Edit,
edit.
right? But to be able to view it, let's see, did I do that? Yeah, it's shared with, should be shared with all of you, I think. 4, 5, 6, I might be missing someone. No, that's probably right, because everybody's here except Tetsuya, right?
Yep. And you should, I mean, I would, it would be helpful to have this in a PDF format for the packet, the meeting packet.
Okay, I can do that. So let me make myself a note to put it in PDF format. And make sure that that should be in the minutes too, that Lori promised to do this. Goldner says she will provide PDF for packet of this working document. Okay. And then back to, whoops, just do there. Back to this. So that brings us, now we're talking, any other education series stuff we're talking about is for the new year. So we can keep talking about that. But the other part of this is, now that we know the heat pump folks are going to be presenting on October 8th and Valley Bike after that, all of us should be reaching out to our networks and sending a little announcement. And Stephanie, if there's a flyer or an announcement or a link on a web page that will announce this, could you send it to all of us to remind us to do that? So we can send a link to I'll put it on Facebook,
Yeah, it's likely that I will ask our communications manager to do some kind of a social media post. So I'll share that posting with you all.
Right, and then we can share that on our own social media accounts if you're willing. That would be nice. That's what I do when I get those things. All right, so we don't have to do much more with this today unless there's something folks want to talk about. Are there particular things? These are the things we've talked about. What do we think are high priorities? I always think that doing something for renters is always a high priority, but I never quite know what would be most helpful or how to get folks to show. We've done the Mass Save thing for renters. It could be an encouraging activism thing, what you can do in your own home, whether you're a renter or not, to save energy, and what sort of things can you advocate for. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough for a renter to engage personally with this stuff because, okay, yeah, usually you pay for your own electricity, you pay for your own heat. So like there's some stuff you can do, but like there's actually less you can do because it's not your home. Like you can ask your landlord about Mass Save, but it's not really up to you. You can't exactly install a heat pump yourself. So it's hard to be like, just rather than like the 70s era, like turn off lights, save energy. It's hard to know what would engage a renter.
It used to be Mass Save had a specific program for renters.
They still do. Yeah,
They still do.
I look it up, Mass Save.
Yeah, so that's something that at the very least could be promoted. I don't know what that involves. My recollection is that they can offer some advice on reducing energy use and provide some energy self turning off energy strips or some other little freebies like that that might help out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one way in which I wonder how this new lower energy. Okay, so electricity rates are gonna go way down presumably over this winter for people who have heat pumps in their homes if you sign up.
Right.
As a renter, you should also be able to access that if you
That's
use a
true.
heat pump already. So
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder how many people actually know about that.
And how do you know if you're eligible?
Yeah.
Ask your what questions to ask your landlord. Here's a telltale sign if you have a heat pump. You have a mini split. You probably have a heat pump.
Right.
You might probably are eligible. So that could be something.
Right. If you have this thing on your wall, call Eversource. They have to know where the outdoor unit is located because they're going to probably be asked to take a picture of it. Now,
Yeah.
My understanding of this so far is that if the heat pumps were installed later than 2022 or later, you're already on a list and will probably automatically get the lower rate. But if they were installed before that, you have to provide information to get the lower rate. Now, I don't know, that was just the last I heard. There's nothing you could actually do yet, even though they said October, you gotta, by October, we'll tell you what to do. So we got a week, not even. So be on the lookout for that in the next week. And maybe we should, if not at least do some sort of outreach into the community, Stephanie. Is there something that's to do once we know what renters have to do, especially for renters?
Well, if you all wanted to put together a little information sheet, I can share that with the communications manager.
Okay.
Maybe
That's a
add a
good
few
idea.
comments of my own, but it could
Okay.
be like, the ECAC encourages renters to, and just do something like along those lines. I would say even do another article, another op-ed piece to
Mhm.
encourage renters to do that. I think that would be a great thing for you all to get behind.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay. And it doesn't have to be, the interesting thing is the heat pump doesn't have to be 100% of your heat. If it's any part of your heat, you get the lower rate. So, yeah, I'm guessing that there are a fair number of renters who are probably in that situation. So that could be really interesting. All right, I will make a note to myself. I'll take care of that. I'll see if I can get more information. Like I say, everyone's having a hard time getting information about this, I think. So, okay, as soon as I can know or can find out, or Stephanie, if you hear anything, let me know. If anybody hears anything and knows that there are final rules for this, let me know. You may hear before I do.
So it's the idea that we won't put out something until there's like concrete information.
Yeah, I don't want to give people
That's fine.
I don't want to give people wrong information, and plus there's nothing to tell them to do yet because there's no place to go. There's not a website to go to sign up, right?
Right. Other than stay tuned. Yeah.
Yeah. At least as of a couple days ago, I checked. I think Friday was the last time I checked.
Okay.
And I think people are aware when we did the last community information session on the heat pump program, there were some questions about it from people in attendance. So I think people are hearing about it, but they don't have the detailed information because it doesn't exist yet. So
yeah, I was also wondering how, I meant to call them and find this out. There are other questions that I have, right, about okay, I belong to a community solar, so I get 12.5% on average off my bill because of community solar. How is this rate going to interact with that? Am I going to get a reduced rate on top of the 12.5%, or am I only getting a little bit of a reduction because I already get a 12? You know what I mean? It's not at all clear to me how that's going to work, because the 12.5% is off the whole bill, not just the transport part, and this is about the delivery part and the discount.
yeah, it's only the delivery. So if that affects your supply, then they're separate charges.
No, they're not. Okay, so the way the community solar works, you get a percentage off your bill. It's both delivery and supply, all of it.
Who provides you that discount though? Is it like separate from, say, Eversource?
It's really confusing.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
done this in the past, and then I got solar, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. But
What
in the-
happens is I'm paying Nexamp for
Yep.
a certain amount of electricity that they're generating for me in
Right.
my name, my share, right? I'm paying
Right.
for that at a price that is 12.5% lower than what I pay Eversource. But the problem is they try to calculate it so that the amount they generate is the same amount that I need, but they don't know exactly. So it's not exactly 12.5%. And if they screw it
Right.
up, it can be bad.
Yeah.
You can end up paying more if they screw it up. So
Mm.
it's a very confusing process, which is why this is going to make it even more
Well,
confusing.
that might also be a good information if we can find out how community solar works. I guess every community solar probably works differently. Um,
I think the way they charge is the same, but
Mhm.
explaining it to anybody requires something more than a rocket science PhD because I don't get it.
Well, maybe this is part of the reason it's taking them so long to roll out the program,
Mm.
because they're
might
trying to
be.
figure these details out.
It might
Yeah.
be. It might be.
I'm part of a community solar, have been for a bunch of years, and I've just recently gone back and tried to understand it and did not really have any luck. And
Yeah.
basically, I just get a check each month or two, sometimes
Mm.
3, from the community solar provider. And it's like $15 or $20.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh,
okay,
that's
cool.
weird. Mine comes
Yeah.
off my Eversource bill. My Eversource bill has been 0 all summer, and I have a
Mm.
little bit of a credit that I've accrued. And in
Yeah.
the winter, but I'm paying Nexamp. It's not like I'm not paying
Right.
anything.
Yeah,
I'm paying
I was part of
Oh.
a community solar where they like paid on behalf of me
Right.
and then chart like it was very confusing. So I think there's like multiple different methods for the savings of community solar to work. It's very confusing. I think every company has their own way of doing things.
But I do think the overall picture is that what they're doing is they're charging you at a discounted rate for the energy
right.
they're generating. You're buying energy from them at a discounted rate.
Yeah.
Right.
You're buying approximately as much as you use, you think.
Yeah. And it benefits them, and I think there's some convoluted way it benefits them
Yeah.
to provide. There's like tax credits or something to providing this service, and so then it all
Right.
gives them a little bit of a profit and us a little bit of savings, and I don't know. And
Yeah.
the Massachusetts taxpayer probably subsidizes this in some way, but
Well,
yeah,
we're paying them 12.5% less than the Eversource rate, but
yeah,
but it doesn't cost them that much to make that energy.
right,
They're making a huge
exactly,
profit.
yeah,
You know, they're making pennies a kilowatt hour, and we're paying
yeah,
25 cents a kilowatt hour, right? So
yep.
it's okay. All right, so enough of that. Maybe we should have maybe that's the important thing to do then, a community. So I think a lot of people wonder about it, so maybe that's something to do.
Mm.
Yeah, that could be.
Demystifying community solar.
Demystifying community solar.
I think it was
Yeah.
just today I got an email from one of the communities, Nexamp, and I went through it, and I think it did say for the Amherst zip code that it is available.
Mhm.
I did not pursue it beyond that, but it might be nice to learn
Yeah, so is that, I'll put it under here.
There's a lot of companies out there that provide this, and they're not scams. They are real. I think that's important to tell people, like these things are real, and I think we should come up with a good story of like how this actually benefits the environment. Like because you do this is enabled or something like. I think craft that story around like, yeah, not just saving money, but also like if this didn't exist, then this wouldn't exist or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's driven by the state's renewable portfolio standard, which requires utilities to provide a certain amount of renewable electricity, and in some cases specifically solar electricity. And so the renewable portfolio standard is a fairly substantial portion of everybody's bill. So everybody's paying for that, for the cost of that, with the goal of reducing the greenhouse gas emissions associated with our electricity.
Right.
The big picture benefit is clear, but yeah, the details are murky.
Really, yeah. And I have heard some horror stories about them miscounting and people ending up paying more than their bill, misaccounting
Yeah.
for how much energy is being used. All right, at any rate, okay, so that's I'm gonna highlight that one. I like that idea. And I'm betting I'm not the only one who's, like I say, interested in that, sounds like. All right, so
Great.
let's, any other things to add here? Other comments?
Oh, this may be the place where I should say that I did contact PV Squared.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mhm.
And the word I got back is that yes, but maybe a little bit later, either this year or early next year. Right now, they're getting lots of contacts because of the incentives ending in a week at the end of this month.
Yeah,
There's
everybody's full up.
franticness. So they would prefer to do it a month or two away. But yes, they were up for having someone come and talking about the benefits of home solar.
Squared might be interested.
Yeah.
But after January 1, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Timing is good. So maybe getting them to talk about solar, even post incentives, post federal incentives, what that's going to look like. Yeah. All right. So what else? Anything else? If not, I will stop sharing. And we'll move on. Yeah.
Anybody feel capable of giving an overview of what the rest of the world is doing as far as climate action? There could be a,
Oh,
Just, looking.
I know someone maybe who could do that, but not me.
Sort of in the face of the lack of action within our own country, it might be a little bit uplifting to hear about what the rest of the world is doing.
Except I think most of it is not particularly uplifting. It's most of what I get to hear.
Yeah, that's true. Although I think the renewable energy is continuing to grow.
That's true. The big picture.
Governments are the commitments and whatnot are not doing so great, but renewable energy, both wind and solar, is remaining the cheapest way to develop and is making inroads.
Yep. Yeah, it would be interesting just to see how that's growing over time.
Well, and also there's been some good news on that front in terms of some of the larger solar projects that the courts have now actually supported them moving forward. So
Solar or
recent.
wind? You mean offshore wind?
Wind.
I'm sorry, offshore wind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
offshore wind.
Yeah, well, you said
The-
renewables, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that made
that's-
me immediately think about the wind projects.
That
Right.
Maryland one, maybe it's 80% complete. Maybe they can complete it.
And the one off of Providence too, I think, right?
Yep.
The one off, the
Yeah.
judge just ruled on the one off of Providence for
Yep.
Connecticut and Rhode Island.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think you're going to continue to see judges ruling that way with respect to projects that have already been approved and where people have expended significant amounts of money. I'm
Right.
not sure you're going to see too many new approvals
Yeah.
over the next 3 years. But I think the courts will step in where somebody who received an approval for an offshore wind facility and has gone and expended significant amounts of money, and in the case of Providence, being literally expect to go online in the spring, the courts are going to, and I suspect the Supreme Court is going to let that happen.
I hope so.
It's a different animal though when it comes to issuing new permits.
Well, that's entirely in the purview of the executive branch. You can't force them
Absolutely.
to issue permits. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we
Yeah.
see executive branches do that all the time.
Yeah.
We're not going to give any
That-
more leases to drill for oil.
Right. You
But-
want that. You want that
administration,
power.
and
Yeah.
then the next
I'm-
administration, we're going to give all sorts of leases to drill for oil. It's craziness, but it
Right.
is.
Here's Stephanie.
I was just going to say, I just want to hang on to the positive in that those were some very large scale projects
Yeah,
that
for
could
sure.
have been tanked. And I think
Oh.
I was so afraid of what that would mean because that felt like it was devastating
Yeah.
in terms of, where we are. And so it feels like this, even though there may not be new, I just want to see what was already approved moving forward because it is significant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
So-
it is, once they go online, it is new. It's
Mhm.
it's renewable energy that we didn't have
Mhm.
before. So
Exactly.
it's progress can be made in
We made.
fits
In
and starts.
spite, in spite of it all.
I did add that to the under I wasn't sure where to put it. I put it under encouraging activism, policy info and associated actions. I just put, what is the rest of the world doing? Positive stories from around the world, including here. So that's a possible future discussion. Or sound good? All right. So with that going on, where are we? Education and outreach. Probably anything with PACE, Don?
No,
Okay, coordination with local groups. Tony, anything else?
No.
I've got nothing for heat pumps, and we've just discussed the education series, so I think we're good there. So advisory and support, UMass climate plan. Okay, so the first meeting of the decarbonization subcommittee for this year is next Friday. Unlike last year where we were meeting every other week, we're only meeting once a month. And one of the, so this is also in coordination with, this sort of coordination with local groups as well. So the local group that has been organizing with alumni and UMass students and faculty and a lot of different people has put together a few things they would like us to bring up at the decarbonization committee meeting on Friday. One of which is probably the biggest one of which is just that, you know, the university does not have a real decarbonization plan like a CARP, right? They don't have anything like that. They don't have a real sustainability dashboard. And considering how big they are, that they're larger than many towns in Massachusetts by quite a bit. And that much smaller towns like Amherst, you know, have these plans. They really need one, and they need one that is honest and inclusive and follows a bunch of principles that we don't really think they've been following. They keep saying that they expect this little decarbonization subcommittee consisting of, you know, three independent faculty members, 2 faculty members that are beholden to the administrators in various ways, and then another 6 or 8 administrators and staff. They expect us to write a climate plan for the campus. And I have been trying to tell them that that is absurd. And that's not how climate plans get written. And I'm getting nowhere with it. So for the next meeting, this is something I wanted to reach out to you guys for. If you know, Stephanie or anyone else, you know, there's the Amherst climate plan, which I'm very familiar with. I've looked at a couple other towns randomly around Massachusetts that have climate plans. If you know of a particularly good example, one that you really like and look back at all the time, send me a link. If you happen to know of a big university, like a land-grant university that has a good climate plan, send me a link. I found a few, but they are all done at the president's office level. So Rutgers University has a very extensive climate plan with, you know, 3 pages worth of stakeholders who were involved. You know, hundreds of people were involved in putting it together. But it's for all the Rutgers campuses. And UMass doesn't have anything like that. And in fact, the Boston campus is actually making big inroads, and the Amherst campus is doing nothing. So you know, it's if you happen to know of a climate plan for a big university, I know the local colleges have, but I think we need something more UMass sized. Send me a link. That's just my request. And if there's anything that you guys want me to bring from ECAC to the decarbonization subcommittee or to this other group of local folks, let me know. So
Laura,
that's
you
what-
might want to check University of New Hampshire.
Okay, good. Excellent. I will do that. All right. So that was sort of a little bit of coordinating with local groups and a little bit of UMass climate plan, non-existent UMass climate plan. Any rate, I might have more of an update for that next time after this first meeting. So that's all I've got, unless there are questions or comments. If not, then next thing on the agenda is the draft solar bylaw. Steve, any updates?
I do not. I have not been able to attend their meetings in the last month or two.
Okay,
The
and
next one is tomorrow. It's from 3 to 5, and I think they're spending the first hour on the solar bylaw. And so that'll be from 3 to 4, which I know is not ideal for you, Steve. Unfortunately, I am heading out of town tomorrow, so I will not even be able to attend myself. So,
And as far as we know, they're still plugging away, tweaking the language and
yes,
trying to
yes,
consolidate. Okay.
correct.
so this is the CRC.
Yes.
Okay, I might try to attend. They're just tweaking language. They're not doing, you don't think they're doing anything significant at this point
Just working on the language and coming to agreement.
and things that might be important. All right. Okay, thanks, Stephanie, and thanks, Steve. All right, transportation. Tony, anything?
No updates.
And regional and state policy updates. I don't think oh, there was one that I didn't look up. Dang. The Climate Bank. I'm not up to date on this, but I didn't have a chance to read it, but there have been several urgent emails coming across my desk in the last week or so about the Climate Bank, which we've talked about before in this group. So this is an effort for Massachusetts to try to find ways to finance big energy transition projects, right? Climate projects, sustainability projects. And there is a bill now, and it is coming up for a hearing. And I'm not up on it, but if anybody's interested in it, I encourage you to look it up. Just Google Climate Bank and, Massachusetts Senate or House, you'll probably find a bill, you'll probably find a hearing. I don't know if there's a hearing date yet. I think the last I saw, there wasn't a hearing date. But it happened pretty quickly with the Make Polluters Pay bill. It sort of went right, there was no date, and then all of a sudden there was a date, and then it was passed. So I expect the same thing might happen here. So we should probably be on the lookout for that. I'll try to send an update if I find anything out, just for you guys to follow up on individually, since I don't have anything to discuss here. I don't have a testimony or anything to discuss. If it's not too late, we'll do that next time. So Stephanie, why don't we put that on the agenda if it's not too late. That's all I've got. And then we're into staff updates.
So mainly I wanted to give you an update on the heat pump program. So CET did table at the block party, and also Valley Bike was there also. And I think both had some great traffic. CET was sort of tucked in back behind all of the town tables. They were next to the fire station, so unfortunately they weren't quite as visible. Valley Bike was very visible, and apparently they gave out whatever swag they had brought with them. So they had quite a lot of people interested in that booth, which is great. But CET gave me an update on where they are, and I was really happy to hear that so far they have 3 completed installs completely. They have 11 in process, which means people are on their way to getting a complete home conversion off of fossil fuels. So they've either they've had their home energy assessment, or they might be getting insulation installed right now, or they've had their manual J. So they're kind of at various points in the process, but that means that they are working towards getting there. So that's another 11. Then we have 2 new customers that are interested in a whole home conversion to heat pumps. And then there are 6 new households that are, some of those are from the block party. And I think 1 or 2 might even be from the information session. So they just need to find out if they are eligible. So so that's, pretty good number. That's what, 11, 13, 19. Yeah, we have like 24.
So we're about halfway through the
Potentially.
program. And
Yes,
were
and so
going
this
for
would,
30, so this is
if
good.
these folks if all of the additional folks that are either in process and some of the new folks move forward, that gets us to 24 out of 30. So pretty exciting. So I feel like the outreach is working, and also really trying to get the information out about the incentives too.
Good.
It's not a lot, but at the federal level, it's not a huge incentive, but it does help. Every little bit helps.
Right.
So those are that's the main update I wanted to give you tonight.
Good, cool. And also a reminder to everybody to keep reaching out to your own, networks, see if there's anybody who might want to be involved in this heat pump program. Talk it up.
And my apologies, I actually do have another update. So I am looking to probably secure another 1 or 2 UNH fellows. We need to do another greenhouse gas emissions inventory update. So that will be this year, and then the next summer, we are probably going to be looking to update our climate action plan. So because it'll be 26. So we want to 25, summer of 26, sorry, we'll be assessing the 25 data. We have to get through 25 in order to get that data to count, right? So we have to be in 26 to look at 25.
Right.
So in 26, next summer, we'll be looking at that to update the greenhouse gas emissions inventory. And then we're going to start looking at updating the climate action plan itself for some new initiatives moving forward to get us from our 25 to 30 goal, which is 50%.
And will there be a consultant involved in that?
Probably, quite possibly. I don't know if there'll be funding for that,
That's the
but
big question.
I would I would work to commit some sustainability funds. It might be a significant chunk of the sustainability funds
Yeah.
if we go that route, but it may be worth it for that year to do so. I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with just trying to secure another fellow for next summer to do
Right.
the greenhouse gas
Right.
emissions inventory update, so we can
Right.
see the numbers.
And you and I, Stephanie, should probably talk about the annual report, which I believe I'm probably already late on again. But we should probably do that sometime soon. And for next time, let's make sure that so every year ECAC has some suggestions for town manager goals for the following year. And I think we probably need to have that discussion maybe at the next meeting. I do believe we're quite late. I guess that doesn't get done until January, but if we want
Yeah.
to get it to or something like that, right?
I think I think typically what's happened is you try to get it before the council in some form, whether they're just looking at it. I don't know that they'll actually, I know you always want to try to present.
Yeah.
That's a bit hard to do because their agenda, especially right now, already it's getting completely packed because they're trying to wrap up before the new councilors get seated.
Yeah.
Because they have, stuff to get through and wrap up.
Yeah, there's an election coming up.
So it
And
might be hard to get on the agenda, but you can
when-
still do it for
when
December.
do the goals for the next year when does that get finalized?
I want to say I'm trying to think of when staff has recommendations. It feels like December is about the
Okay.
right time frame. Sometime around there.
Okay, so I will work on a report. I'll try to get a draft report for next time. And goals. It'll look a lot like last year's with updates. All right. So that brings us to ECAC member updates. Any other updates? If not, items for the next agenda, we talked about Climate Bank. And that could just be under, where is it? Under regional and state policy updates. We could leave it there, or we could put it farther up, either way. But just list it separately if we do it under, so that I don't forget to talk about it. And then town manager goals and draft report. I'll try to mock something up for next time. Anything else for the agenda? Outside of the usual stuff? Oh, and of course, next time we're going to have CET talk about heat pumps and the heat pump program. So that'll probably be at 6:30.
Yeah, that'll be 6:30 to 7:30.
Okay. So usually, we'll get our business wrapped up in that first hour, and then they'll come on and join us at 6:30. Okay, so please let folks know, and Stephanie will get us some sort of poster, flyer, or something that we can distribute.
Yep, probably early next week.
And do we have any public? It looks like we are still public-less, so no public comment, which means we have a move to adjourn. A second. Everyone wants to stay here and talk.
I second it.
Oh,
Or
who?
I move, sorry.
Thank you, Tony. Don seconding. So I'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Bye all. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.